On today's video, we're going to show you a lady who's quite upset. So I'm just going to call this video Hard Worker versus Food Stamp Recipient, and we'll take it from there.
Let me explain this to the people that's getting food stamps and cash assistance that says they don't know what they're going to do without food stamps and cash assistance. For one, they do have the churches that you can still use. For two, they have food banks that you can still use. They have different programs that you can use. The only thing it's saying is that you can't go into the grocery store and load your fucking basket up with everything that you want and swipe a EBT card, because us hardworking people can't do that either. And let me give you something else. At schools, they give your kids free lunch. Now, us who do not have food stamps and our kids do not receive free lunch, we have to send them with lunch money. If we forget to send our kids with lunch money or forget to put money on their books, is what they call it, they give our kids, us hardworking people, they don't give them free lunch. They give them an alternate lunch. And an alternate lunch, my lady, is 2 pieces of white bread and a slab of cheese. And, oh no, they don't get a juice box. They get fucking water. The school gave my son a piece of fucking cheese, 2 pieces of white bread, and fucking water. A jailhouse meal, because I fucking forgot to put money on his books. Now, the fuck do you think that's fair that I go to work every day and you get food stamps and you qualify for your kids to eat free lunch? And if we forget to put our $3.75 on the motherfucking docket, they give our kids an alternate lunch. Do you know how people who kids got an alternate lunch felt? They were actually teased by the motherfucking kids who parents is on food stamps. Make that the fuck make some motherfucking sense. So yes, I'm glad food stamps is gone. So y'all have to work and provide for your kids like the rest of us. Please don't. Please, like, I'm really getting pissed off about people crying about their food stamps and shit. They kids gonna suffer. Our kids been fucking suffering. Our kids been fucking suffering. We got to work 2 jobs and then Uber at night to put food on the table. Welcome to fuck our world.
She mentioned that bread and cheese.
Bread, cheese, and water. Right.
That's prison stuff.
Not even like some chocolate milk, but that's just how it is. That's how it is. That's how it is. That's how it is in a lot of states. The school system is
so that needs to be changed because
it's only going according to
bread.
What the government tells them to do. You know what I'm saying? And it is disgusting. And I feel where she's coming from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, okay, put it this way, right? When it comes to children and lunches, I think every child, there should be no discrimination when it comes to lunches.
Yeah.
Don't get it misconstrued. When it comes to food stamps, they need to really wean that process as well, okay? They need to only give food stamps to the disabled, veterans, and elderly people. Everybody else who's young, fit, and ready, they should be working for their dollar. Because in other countries, listen, if you don't have, you're asked out. There's no such thing as a free meal ticket of no sort. You're not. And a lot of times when situations are like that and people realize, oh my God, these are some tough and harsh situations. They take heed to what it is that they got to do in order to become better people, and they don't have as many kids. That's number one, right? Because they know that they're suffering, and if they have kids, they ass gonna suffer too. Kids should be allowed a free lunch. Yeah. Parents shouldn't have to pay for lunch.
Yeah.
They shouldn't. And if they do forget to pay for lunch, they shouldn't be, their kids shouldn't be
punished,
rewarded or punished.
Yeah.
Right? Punished is a better word. with a freaking bread and cheese sandwich and some water. When it comes down to the lunches, right? I think everybody, in all fairness, should get the same lunches, okay? Because when it comes to our kids, our oldest son, he's already graduated from college and he's moving on to law school, all right? Kudos to him. Now, our middle son, he's in private school, of course, and we pay for his education and we pay for everything under the sun, including lunch every day.
Yes.
We don't have a problem doing that.
Yes.
But, and the cool thing about it is if I get tied up, we get busy or whatever the situation have you, and we forget to give him money or whatever, the cool thing about it is they have Cash App, we Cash App him, he has
Right.
Apple Wallet and all that stuff. So
Right.
he texts us in the morning and we're like, okay, yeah, we got you. Boom, boom, boom. Easy, said, done. However, our daughter, she's only 12, right? So they don't have the luxury of purchasing stuff, vending machines
Right.
and all that stuff.
But she still has her Cash App, and she still goes
Exactly.
to the store.
If need be, after,
Yeah,
in
to
the
get
morning,
whatever she
whatever.
needs.
But nevertheless, right? I say this to say, at least in her school, there's 3 categories of a lunch. Okay? You have, because there's also a lot of kids who are vegan as well, because it's like a mixed school with different kids
Yeah.
of different ethnicities. So they offer a regular school lunch,
Yeah.
and they also offer a vegan option. A bread and cheese option, I don't think they have that.
No.
But nevertheless, it's not 3 options, but it's 2 options, right? But my whole thing is this: every school should have that, where
Yeah.
they have a regular option, you don't have to pay for it. So the kids on the food stamp program and the kids whose parents is making money, they all get to eat the same thing.
Right.
Because we all know kids could be malicious and mean. And a lot of times it's from what they take from home. You know what I'm saying? They have the same mindset, same attitude.
Correct.
And if they could get a chance, meanwhile, their family's on welfare and they're struggling, but they probably don't even know. But if they could get the chance to laugh at somebody else's kid over a lunch, we can't have that.
No.
That's ridiculous at this point. You know what I'm saying? But at least if we feed them the same thing, there will be nothing to mock or laugh about.
Correct, yeah.
And you have the vegan option for the kids who are vegetarian and so on and so forth, or the kids who don't feel like rocking out eating meat for that day. They eat a vegan meal. But
The thing is, they need to really watch who's controlling the budget in most of these schools, because sometimes they could be stealing the money and not being able to cater to the
allocate
lunch,
the money in.
the lunch, demands.
It's crazy. But I really feel for this woman, because I get where she's coming from. To wake up early in the morning, I'm assuming, whatever, or
Yeah.
even if you're working late at night, depending on your shift,
To prepare the
work
lunch and everything for the
work
kids.
so hard, and you basically just forgot. And maybe her little one is too little where he can't have the phone at school.
Right.
Because our 12-year-old daughter, she has a phone, but she keeps it on silent and she keeps it in her book bag. So she can't be, caught with her phone and all that stuff and walking around with her phone. And
Right.
so I'm assuming this kid may be like in elementary school where the same thing applies.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just so sad, because no kid, like I said, should have to go through this nonsense.
Right.
Your mom forgets to give you a lunch, and the people that work at the school, so I get it, they're following protocol. But at the end of the day, they're a little bit mean as well. Because especially if this kid always has money.
Right.
You see, don't put me in the school system to work, because not only is everybody getting the same lunch, and I'm asking them what you want, which one do you want, whatever, take as much as you want, but I'm gonna make sure every kid eats the way they want
Equally.
to. They all gonna. If you still hungry, come back and get a second plate.
Exactly.
It's just ridiculous. Because we have to also keep in mind that a lot of kids who are eating in school, whether it be breakfast or lunch, that's it for the day.
Yeah.
Because a lot of parents can't provide. And some parents,
Yeah.
they're working parents.
Yeah.
Right? But they have to make a choice over, paying
the bills or putting food on the table.
Or putting food on the table,
Yeah.
basically.
Most of these kids, at the end of the day after school, it's not guaranteed that they're going to have a sufficient amount of food
Right.
to eat by the time they get home. So they kind of do depend on the school lunch.
Hence the fact as to why they have the summer lunch
Some
program.
lunch programs. I don't know if they have that in your state, but in most states they do have summer
Yes.
lunch programs where these kids are definitely taken care of if
So-
they're not being taken care of
So
at home.
even if they're out of school, they get to take care.
Yeah.
Even if they're out of school, they get to benefit
Yeah.
by going to school during the summertime
Right.
and
Get
getting
some
a hot
breakfast
plate
or,
of breakfast and
yeah.
lunch. And I just find it really crazy because, like I said, I could definitely feel where this lady's coming from, and my heart goes out to her because it's like she said, she's doing all that she could possibly do. Meanwhile, a person who's sitting on their ass, not even trying, is receiving all this cash assistance and probably buying all this processed food and all this other bullshit to the point where they could even make a hot meal and send their kid to school with a lunchbox.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd still be okay.
Yeah.
But then to turn around and still get free lunch, like, come on. And then you treat the person who's fucking paying into the system the so-called tax to feed this group of people
Better than a hardworking
better.
person.
This is craziness. Make that shit make sense.
Yeah.
It's crazy to say the least. It makes absolutely no sense.
I believe that there might be a leak in the system. I always believe
There's
that.
a bunch of loopholes that need to be fixed.
Whenever there's insufficient amount of supplies, especially to the schools, there got to be a leak somewhere in the system to where somebody needs to be investigated as to why these supplies are not being handed out to the schools as they should be.
Not even a grilled cheese. You didn't even have the audacity to heat the bread up and toast it and melt the cheese. The only question I have is, was the cheese Borden cheese?
Oh, God.
Or was it Kraft? No, I'm just playing. Because growing up, the Borden cheese, boy, I tell you, we still eat Borden cheese to this day along with others. But nevertheless, you know, wow. I that's sad. You know what I'm saying? I sympathize with that situation. And if I was her, I would definitely try to take a stance and, you know, maybe speak to state officials or even try to get in contact with the federal government. And, you know, I'm pretty certain there's many, many, many more people that feel just like her. Thank goodness for social media, because at least if everybody who's in a loop of what she's saying and experiencing the same thing of what, you know, of what she's saying, basically, because stand together.
They can outvoice their opinion on
and create
concerns.
like a exactly.
It sounds very
and create a bigger voice basically, because this needs to be dealt with. It's not fair. So it's just like I said, there's a lot of loopholes that need to be fixed. And
all right, so until next time, guys, of course, you know we're gonna always bring you the best.
Catch you later.